Hi.
Excellent.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there, Andy.
How are you, Steve?
Oh, I'm doing chipper.
Excellent. And we have Kailena with us also.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. And Zeph, on the phone, you don't see, all the faces, but I see another person there on the left. I don't know you yet. Right there with the blonde hair.
Deborah.
Deborah. How are you, Deborah?
Hi, excellent. Great to be here.
Excellent. I'm going to put up the volume a little bit. So, we'll get started. Zeph, I'm happy to have you with us. I thank you very much for taking the lead on this because, I'm not very familiar with this technology. I appreciate you taking the lead on this and getting everybody set up.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Excellent. And so, everybody's here tonight. Again, the first thing is always, so what's the purpose of the phone call? Why are we all on this Hangout tonight? Me personally, I've made it my personal mission to help everybody build their business, to help everybody get more exposure, whatever it is that we can put together as far as a perfect format to help small business owners grow their business. That's what I'm here for. That's really what I'm here for tonight. I'm happy to have Zeph, with us today. And the reason why I invited her is, from the first meeting that I had with her, I was just impressed by her overall energy. She brought the idea of the Google Hangout, which I thought was terrific. Because if you take a look at Zeph's website, you will see that she's just, she says herself. It's absolutely valuable, not just because it's technology, but it allows for a better connection. I can see the people, I can see their verbal, nonverbal expression and everything. So that's perfect for connection. The topic that we've been discussing for the past 3 weeks is how to establish a good connection, and this is exactly in line with what we want to do. Not just because, well, we were on the Google Uber conference before, and it was just words and tonality. But now at least we can have the nonverbal expression and everything that goes with it. So,
Sounds good.
without further ado, Zeph, the reason why I have you on the call is I know for a fact that you're a great leader and you're a great example to a lot of people on the phone call today. And as planned, I want to ask you some questions that will not only allow other people to start to know you a little bit better, also, for everybody to kind of learn, from what you've experienced and what are your strengths and, why you've decided to use the Google Hangout as your major way to interact with people. Now, and I understand that
Go ahead.
most of the people on the line here are business owners, so we'll do it just as planned. Number one, I want everybody to give at least a short introduction for other people on the call to understand who's on the call and what type of business they're dealing, what type of business they are in. So in order of appearance, Zeph, can you tell me who was the first person to be on the call today?
Well, Deborah was the first to join me in.
All right, excellent. So Deborah, you go first.
Okay, well, I do have my own business. My business makes spiritual jewelry, line of jewelry, and it's our purpose is to create joy and to really spread the word about meditation and being mindful about yourself and your health, and spreading that well-being to others as well. In a nutshell, that's really who we are. We have a very eclectic collection of jewelry that's made by developmentally disabled adults as well as other people.
I think next was Whitney, right? Whitney, you came in next.
Yes, I think so. Hi, I'm Whitney Dicker. I do women's evening wear. I'm a fashion designer, so I do women's evening wear and cocktail gowns, cocktail dresses rather. And I've been doing it for a number of years. I'm actually expanding into jewelry and going into other areas as well. Looking to do some ready-to-wear eventually down the line in menswear and things of that nature. So we're just building, in the process of building right now. So that's pretty much what I do.
Steve, you're next.
I'm Steve Cunningham. I am a nonprofit consultant. I work with nonprofit organizations on leadership development, board development, strategic planning, as well as philanthropic fundraising. Over the course of the last 30 years, I've raised over almost $135 million of various nonprofit organizations, primarily New England and New York.
Very nice.
So
You deserve that too. I think we have David next, right?
Okay. So my name is David Dodato. I've been in marketing for about 20 years in different forms and run a number of different businesses over the years. Help businesses with internet marketing and using video to help to promote their business. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, you two deserve it. Yay! And then we have Kaylina.
Hi, I'm Kaylina. I have a business called CC Photo and Media. We do commercial and editorial photography for small businesses and entrepreneurs to help you create a visual impact and visual branding to help you stand out. We focus primarily on food, events, and lifestyle portraiture.
One for you too. And he's enjoying that.
I'm enjoying that. This is just wowing me. This is just wowing me. This is crazy.
I'm addicted to Hangouts, so you can kind of relate to it now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
This is great. So we have so much to learn from you, Zeph, and that's why you're next. I'll let you give your introduction, and then I have some questions that I would want to ask you. And I would like to let everybody also kind of express themselves and ask you a question as to what they would want to know, or what particular thing that you said they would want to expound on.
Okay.
So Zeph, your elevator speech.
Hey everybody, I'm Zeph, and I usually tell people I have an SOS, which is standard operating speed of 200 miles per hour, and that's the honest truth. Okay, so let me give you all a little laugh, extra laugh. So basically, I started entrepreneurs out of my passions, 3 of my passions, and that the 3 passions are I love people, I love entrepreneurship, and I wanted to give back, so pay it forward. So after 3 years being in business, it started out as a meetup group, really, networking. That was my passion, meeting people, right? So it started out as a networking group, and then as I'm such an avid networker in the state of Connecticut and also the tri-state areas, but I was like, I have only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I must sleep, So I said, is there a way for me to get to more people, meet more people, increase my reach? And we started playing with Google Hangouts, and now what I do is I teach, I basically help lifestyle entrepreneurs, consultants, coaches, independent professionals, and also food entrepreneurs, and also lifestyle entrepreneurs, leverage the use of Google Hangouts to increase their reach via video, webcasts, and virtual events to boost your business growth. So a lot of what I do, I'm also known as the high-tech, high-touch marketing strategist, because I want to help you connect with your audience in real time and on demand so that you can reach more people in less time. And that's how I got started.
That is indeed 200 miles per hour.
Yes.
That's what I love about you. So energetic and also so conscious of your time. So I absolutely love that. I think you do that by now.
Thank you.
The first question that I wanted to ask you is, you're dealing with entrepreneurs, you're dealing with business owners every day.
Mm-hmm.
First question I wanted to ask you is, what type of challenges do you see people face that that would want to go after and help solve. So what are the major challenges for these small business owners out there?
So you mentioned earlier about time, right? How to manage time, and I think I've mastered it quite a bit here. And I think many of us, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner, the biggest challenge I think each and every one of us is time. So, and what we often, the mistake that we often do is we don't, we don't know how to delegate, and we want to do it everything by ourselves, and then might just go stress out and we'll drop, and you drop and you can't come back up. So I've experienced that. Can y'all relate? Because anybody relate to that? Because hello. You want to do everything by yourself, right? And you don't know how to delegate. Maybe in the beginning stages, we find delegation hard because, delegate could mean you hire virtual interns, or you hire somebody and pay somebody for the work. But what I've learned throughout the few years that I've started Entrepreneurs That Soar, one of the biggest things that we're in business, we need to focus on what we do best, right? So that we can deliver our best work. So one of the biggest things I think entrepreneurs face and business owners face is time, and that they want to do it all if they can because they want to cut on costs. But then in the long run, it'll cost us more because we cannot do what we do best, and perform for our clients. So I think that is one of the biggest issues that entrepreneurs and business owners, face, which is you want to do it all and you don't know how to delegate. Don't know how to delegate is another thing. It's a whole big issue because you may not be able to find the right people to delegate to, and you don't have trust, right? So I think that are some of the things that I know you asked for one, but I'm always over delivering. So that's what that's my personal experience and what I see happen a lot. So can you all relate?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask one more question and kind of lead in, because it's important also to kind of hone in on what you say and not try to jump from subject to subject. It's already a good topic that you've put in. And so my question that I find the most important is, Zeph, what type of habits have you developed in order to help you manage your time and get into the habit of developing? So what are the habits that you've developed that you feel are so, have made a total difference in the way you run your business now?
Wow, that's a lot. But in regards to time, I think the biggest thing that has helped me manage my time is using a calendar that works, okay, and keep up with that calendar. Because most of the time, people now live on this, right? So they fix their calendars on their desktops or computers, and then they don't know how to sync it or access it on the computers. And then they meet at a networking event, say, hey, can we meet this? And then they overlap or double book. So one of the biggest things, and in fact, this is something that I teach my interns in our team, is that get a booking calendar. And I think, Andy, you've experienced my booking calendar, right? Yeah. So because one of the things that I use is the booking calendar. If you're working with clients or customers who probably want a little bit of your time, you only have so much time in a day, right? So if you're doing email back and forth and say, hey, can we meet this day next week? Here are my times. What's your time? Oh, this is your time. This is my time. By the time you know, it's 10 emails and 3 days later to book an appointment, right? So I decided to use a booking calendar to kind of help me manage my time a little bit so that people get to pick the time slots that they, that work best for them. Some people I've had, people that I've dealt with that may not really like it, but the point is you need to also educate the people that you work with that your time is valuable, and so is theirs. So in a way, I'm also teaching them to respect their time and mine. So that's one of the big things that I've practiced since I've been in business. And then, do you want another tip, Andy, of how being in business has kept me going at 200 miles per hour?
Yeah, one more, because I know. Go ahead, one more.
Okay. always look at everything that you do with glass half full. So whenever you have those challenges, so I'm giving everybody a dong, right? That you always have to look at your glass half full, because if you look at your glass half empty, whatever situation that you're put in, you may think you will always see the negative in it, and then you won't have a grit to keep on pursuing and making things better. Does that make sense? Because
Yes.
if your mindset is always looking at the glass half empty, you're always looking at things negatively, and you always go and take you're always looking at something that may happen bad, right? So if you look at your glass half full, it gives you a room to find that solution, troubleshoot, and keep on going. Even how hard that situation is, how challenging it is, because you'll only grow from that experience. I think that's what has kept me in business for quite some time now.
Excellent. That's good. I mean, obviously, your persona, your presentation, you being on camera right there, that color shirt. I want a color shirt like that, by the way. You can order me one. I mean, it speaks by itself. Your energy, and I thank you very much again for setting everything up today.
My
I
pleasure.
want to move on to getting other people also to talk, and then some more advice and everything. I'm looking at everybody today. So here's the other thing that I wanted to hash out, and have more of an open discussion with everybody kind of putting in, because I need to hear from everybody there, and we'll go in order: Deborah, Whitney, Steve, David, Kalena, and then back to you, Zach. So here's the problem that I'm trying to solve, and I want to hear from everybody. So I mentioned at the beginning of the call that my mission is to help every business owner, small business owner, get more exposure, grow their business. I really want to help them get ahead. And what I've experienced is that there's such a thing as organized networking groups. BNI, for example. Last week, Steve and I were at another one called Master Networks. And what's really dawning on me right now is, okay, if I want to make a difference in this world, what I want the perfect combination or the perfect creation of a networking group. So I need to hear from everybody tonight, and it's really important for me. I need to hear from everybody tonight. What I want to know, and what my question is, what do you want to see happen, or what is important in as a part of a networking group? What's the most important thing for you? What do you need to see happen for you to say, I'm going to dedicate myself to this group. I'm going to, even pay some money to enroll into a group. That's what I want us to hash out today. One at a time. Take your time. Take some notes. I really want us to come out with something out of the call today, is to say, if we were to create the perfect networking group, here's what needs to happen. Don't hold back. So we'll go with Deborah first. I don't know if you've had experience with previous networking group. The floor is yours.
Well, I've been in a few mastermind groups. I went one with Zeph, and I've been in one that is it was developed out of Florida. It was a Tony Robbins related mastermind group, and I'm trying to put this in a positive tone. What I want, as opposed to what seems to happen is that when the group forms, there's things that occur within the group that I find counterproductive. Um, you're having trouble hearing me, and so I think is important is that it is clear at the beginning uh, that everyone has a common goal. It doesn't have to be the same goal, but there has to be some type of common a goal in terms of outcome. And I think that it's important that be reviewed on an ongoing basis. Otherwise, it seems like groups get off track. Not necessarily that it has to be overly structured, but I think that that's important. And what I've noticed is that people come and go from the groups, and so if that's not incorporated into the group, then you get astray, and then eventually you feel as if you're not getting your needs met. I think it's important that everyone participate in a group, and that that there needs to be some one person or two people or someone that oversees the group, so that if someone is like, on a regular basis and to uh, monopolize the group, that needs to be addressed as well, or just gently move it along.
Excellent. So I'm seeing, one common goal, and let me know if I get it right. I see here, one common goal to everybody in the group, and also reviewing that on a periodic basis and making sure that we're there for the right reason. Participation from everybody, and also take out of that monopoly or the cliques that are going on to make sure that everybody participates and everybody's still happy. Correct?
Yeah, there needs to be someone to sort of monitor what's going on. And it doesn't mean that everyone has to have the same outcome. I want to grow my business by, this year, make my business grow, or I want to, something, and they could be different goals, but there's a common thread amongst them, which makes the group a lot more stimulating than if everyone is focused on the exact same thing. So different businesses still work together. Works. That's it. Next.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Deborah. And if you have more, you can add up. We'll go with Whitney. Whitney, you're with us?
Yes, I'm here.
And Whitney, you need to meet with Zeph because you guys have that similar energy.
I think probably the most important thing I'd be looking for is for the group to be informative. I'd be looking for seminars and things of that nature, because I think that there are a lot of processes just in constructing a business, pulling a business together, that some people may be more experienced with, be more advanced with, and others may not be. And it's nice to just have a roadmap and just have a way of guiding people at whatever step and whatever level that they're at. And seminars, I think, are very effective way to do that. If you want to cover, finances, how to do projection sheets, or whatever aspect of business, how to do a business plan, things like that. I think that can be very, very helpful. And so I'd be looking to see something along that path and along, that roadway. So.
Yeah, I totally understand. You're talking about an organized roadmap that would take an entrepreneur all the way from an idea to a startup to an advanced one, at least having a roadmap and a curriculum that can take anybody from the level they're at, and advance that.
Right. Right. You need something that, and it's not so much, because I know a lot of networks that they have. It seems like a lot of people come together, and it's more, I guess, more of a party atmosphere. And not that that's a necessarily bad thing, but that there isn't that gel to hold it together. And maybe that's why some people drop out of the group, because they do need that information. Hanging out is fine, and having fun with everyone and interacting is fine. But again, you're there for business. So it's nice to walk away with an element that's going to help you or inspire you to actually take your business to the next level. And sometimes there are pieces that are missing for people, and they go to these things hoping to get that piece. So, that would be a wonderful thing to be able to have. So, we can have fun and do business at the same time.
Right. No, that's absolutely valuable, absolutely crucial, valuable information. And I have one question for you, Whitney. So, and I don't know if everybody is in the same frame of mind as I do. One of the challenges that I've experienced is that groups are either meeting for too short of a time or too long of a time. So, could you very quickly, from your experience, even dealing with other networking groups in person and Hangouts like we're doing, what is the typical amount of time that you would want to meet in order for you to kind of stay in it? You feel like an hour is too short, an hour and a half is too long? What's the typical time that that they got your attention?
I would say this: when it's good, an hour is too short. When it's bad, an hour is too long. I think that's the best way to really kind of put that. I think Zeph likes that. But I know that when we're speaking and when we're having conversations and everything is really getting to a peak point and really getting good, and we start to ask questions and we're having feedback and all of that, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, okay, time's up. And so in those cases, it becomes, too short. And you're like, oh, already? And a lot of times we've gone overtime, but it hasn't been, enough, because what we're discussing is, such a meaty subject. We're like, okay, we can go for another 2 hours. But if it's something, that's completely snooze fest and boring, then of course we all want to get off the phone as quickly as possible. But that hasn't really happened with us. So yeah, I would say, maybe a good hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe. Somewhere in that vicinity. But it depends on. I think you have to have a certain level of fluidity with it. So depending on if the interest level is being piqued and people are really getting into it, then you just extend it a little bit further, and if everybody's falling asleep, then we cut it back.
Common sense takes the lead.
Just be open and fluid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, Whitney, for that.
Sure.
All right, Steve.
Yes.
I know you're in an industry that's a little bit different than the pure business, but you're in consulting. You're looking to build your network. What's your take on that as far as networking groups?
Well, I think the very first thing I think is important is that, and I know that everyone's a volunteer at this, Andy, and I'm you've taken the lead of this group. One of the things that I think would be very beneficial to me would be, number one, getting an agenda 2 or 3 days in advance of the meeting, when I can make a decision. Okay, this is a subject matter that I can relate to,
Right.
that I have, that I can make contributions to, and that I'm possibly am going to walk away with valuable information.
Mm-hmm.
Same again, gee, this is a subject that has, absolutely nothing to do with what I'm trying to do, my business, my networking, therefore, I would, skip the meeting. And I think it's important that you have people attending a meeting that are interested in the subject to be discussed that evening. And having advanced knowledge allows us then to sort of do our homework, see how the subject matter or the agenda dovetails into our personal agendas and networking, that would be the biggest suggestion that I would have. Meeting, for an hour or so. Yeah, I think Whitney is right. Sometimes an hour is not long enough. An hour and a half is long enough. Sometimes half an hour is long enough. In my case, I just got off. Before this, I have a team meeting with my philanthropy team for NARAP, which is a nonprofit organization in Fairfield County, and they do medical research and clinical and public health research, and so I'm going from 8 o'clock in the morning on Mondays, at least until 9 o'clock at night, and that makes for a particularly a long day. I could flip around my this is what I call my NARAP day, and that's the day I focus on that particular client. Wednesday morning is again a particular time I focus on that particular client. And yeah, personally, I'm looking to network. I'm looking for individuals who are, they themselves are in business, but very well may have be on a board of a nonprofit, know of somebody who is looking for somebody to come in and help a nonprofit get going, get out of stuck, get them out from being stuck in first gear.
Right.
And so those are the two things: an agenda, to which would
Right.
help us to prepare ourselves and say, okay, yes. Or to send you an email and say, Andy, I won't be joining you tonight because the feedback is important to you.
Right. Right. No, I totally get it, and I'm thinking of something that's very important is for members of the meeting or members of the networking group to actually make a list of the target people that would benefit them. So we're kind of growing organically based on what others would benefit from. And again, this is open conversation. We have some time, so I want everybody, if you're taking notes, to comment on previous comments so we can really hash it out. But thank you very much for your advice, Steve. Thank you very much for that. And so, who's next in line? David. David, where are you?
I'm right here, sir. How are you?
I know you're not going to strive for perfection. We had discussions about these, these networking meetings. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to a lot of networking meetings, and I don't think there's a perfect networking meeting. I think you're going to get different types of things from different groups, and that's okay. We might have a group that's really germane to our industry, and then there might be other groups that are cross-industry. Some groups, as was mentioned before, are more social focused, and that might be okay as long as they're professional networkers who really want to do business. And then a group like this is also interested in learning and sharing knowledge with each other and sort of helping, each other grow with experiences we've each had. So I think you need a continual refresh of new people and new activities. I think if it's the same thing over and over again, people are going to move on. We have to stay current with what's going on today. Everything.
Oh, we lost David.
David?
It's changing at a.
Oh.
I'm still here.
Maybe
It's just a bit of what you said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think with the pace of change, we need to always be looking to the leaders, for what topics we all really need to be paying attention to and learning. There is a ton of information available online now, so we don't need to cover everything in a group. But real world problems with real solutions that we, maybe you guys have solved the problem that I'm having, or vice versa, and we can talk about that in a practical, feet on the ground, entrepreneur fashion. And I think probably the most important thing of all, which Andy and I talked about, is, this gives us an opportunity to build trust and rapport with one another, which takes time and it takes some face-to-face. So I think virtual is great, but I think also getting to know one-on-one within a group is really important. You can't really, refer business to someone that you really don't have any experience with. So I think, bringing the personal connection back to things like LinkedIn. I mean, I get, for example, you get a LinkedIn from somebody you've never met, who's perhaps a young person that doesn't understand, what these types of tools are for. And if you know somebody really well, it's great to be able to stay in touch. But if you don't know people and you're online and you're just trying to do business, you can't take the place of that personal connection, I think.
Right.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak on your behalf, but one of the things that David said that really resonated with me, and you didn't mention it today, but you mentioned something, and I've been thinking about it since you said it. You mentioned something is that, we can have a very flowing meeting, but then on the back end of it, the office is kind of organizing and mandating that everybody sits down with each other in a structured way over the course of time.
Yeah.
It's to say sometimes you have networking meetings that are very social, people are having refreshments, and it's okay. But what I found a lot of value when you said, you want to organize and make sure that people are sitting together one-on-one outside of the networking group, and that just has to happen. The same way groups make sure that we give referrals and they track everything, you want to have the structure to make sure that people are committed to sitting one-on-one with each other. So I don't know if you had other things in that line, because, we spoke for an hour. I wanted to bring that up.
We spoke for like almost 2 hours, right?
Right. Well, that was that. Everybody can feel free to comment. I just wanted to speak on your behalf, and I was hoping
that was one of those perfect examples of when it's a good meeting, that like almost 2 hours flew by, and it was very beneficial. I think networking meetings are opportunities to meet new people, and it's opportunities for new trust in a business setting. So we all want to grow our businesses. We all want to solve the problems that we have, and I think many of us also want to give back, which is part of the reason we're all here. We want to also, help other people, because that's also good networking. So it kind of all comes back around.
Hey, Andy, can I just pitch in something that came up to my mind real quick, just to kind of compliment what you guys are talking about. Can I?
Go ahead. I was just
okay. So I'm just, he knows I'm going to be like 200 miles per hour. So here's my thought process for each and every one of you, right? So I've been an avid networker for many, many years, and I think it's just because it's just part of who I am, and I've just almost, had enough practice that I now know, and I am very certain of the type of people, the type of network that I want to belong to, okay? So I'm going to share with you my experience, and then you can take whatever from what I've experienced and kind of apply it to your own situation. So when I started the group, Entrepreneurs That Soar, the meetup group, it was a, in-person networking group, and we were in rooms, and we had a little bit of structure, we had presentations, we had more of the casual ones, fun ones. But I've always done an evening event, and I always like to have some sort of a presentation or something like that. So I go to a lot of networking events, and what I've learned is that what all of you have mentioned earlier tonight pretty much is true. But now I am at the point of my business where I know this is one group that I do not want to go anymore, or this is one group that I want to just go once every other month because they're more party-like, or I just want to meet new people, or I want to belong. So right now I'm at that point in my business where I want to spend a little bit of money for quality. Because as you network more, all right, whatever structure or format that works for you or your personality or what you're looking for your business, right, you will tend to see that, what you used to be okay with other groups, like maybe more casual evening events where, people just network and you meet more people, just collect stacks of cards work for you. And then you'll have to find the time to follow up with them, because most of us don't do a good job, right? So, and I'm speaking from experience because I know. So I now find groups that I know I can invest my time and energy in. And one example is like what me and Deb belong to. So we, like a few of us ladies thought, hey, we should start this mastermind group. So we started with meeting in person, and then because I have this tool called Google Hangouts, I kind of shared with everybody. I said, great, we could probably meet in person once a quarter, right? But monthly we meet online, right? We meet online, have presentations and all that stuff, because we get to do a little bit more productive work online like this, because I can share with my screen. So if you want a learning session, I'll say, let's sit down today. Our agenda is to help you set up your Facebook event page or Facebook business page, right? So I can share my screen and walk you through it. However, in person, sometimes that takes a little bit of work, because you have to get equipment, show a projector, and all that stuff. And then traveling, getting dressed, go to the gas station, fill up your gas. By the time you get to the event, you're like, I just want to go home. Can you relate? So I'm thinking you have to now ask yourself, what type of people do you want to have in your group, Andy? Because you're also going to spend time with these people. If we're all giving something to each other, we want some sort of level of commitment, right? If we're going to give you something, we want something in return. We're not asking you to be there all the time, but I like to over-deliver, because then people see the value and quality in my network, right, in what I do. So maybe that's something that we should be asking, where everybody is in their networking, level. What type of people do they want to meet? The target audience. Do they want people who just want to collect business cards? Because most of the time when you go to the casual evening ones, people just go like, hi, this is my business card. Oh, this is my business card. And by the time they move away, I'm like, wait, who is this person? So that's a challenge. And then I'll have some other groups that I go to that I belong, that I probably paid a minimum membership, and I do better, what should I say, better work with them. I get better a better return on investment, because I get clients. So I think we kind of need to know what each and every one of us in this call, or maybe the future members of this call, want. Do they want a platform like this and then do face-to-face meetup like once in a quarter or every other month? Because I think that would be very helpful. Here he goes. Whitney says quarterly events.
I was thinking that before you said it.
So one of the big things I've also realized, right? Yes, I'm going to admit on camera, and I've through my own experience, if you give something free, people will always not value it, because they see free. Everybody defines the word free differently, right? Maybe they go, oh, that's free because there's no value. Or free, oh, we're just there to hang out and party, or just meet, and all that stuff. But when you get people to commit to certain, maybe it's $10 per event or $20 per event, you get better quality people. And what you will notice, the mindset of the people attending those events, they're a different level of mindset. If you want business leaders, you're going to get business leaders, because if they're willing to pay $25, right, to a networking event that will give you, good content, or that's a structure of a format or an agenda, they would pay $25 and keep paying $25, right? But if you say free and you over-deliver, you'll just be exhausted, because at the end of the day, you're giving free, and you won't get the level of mindset of people in your group. Does that help everybody? Because I've experienced it, and I now know where I would like to belong. And he's laughing.
Come
People
on.
like the aura of exclusivity.
Yeah.
No, but I
I
think
definitely can relate. I can definitely relate. Now, I know what you're saying. The quality of people is something that we're always looking for. Friendship is something that we're looking for, that I found is missing, is that sometimes you're in a networking group, you don't have no friends. Yep. I've been a part of a networking group, and I'm like, typically in that networking group, seriously, I have to make a commitment, but I really only have 2 or 3 friends in that group. The rest of the people. Mm-hmm. So, there's this aspect of friendship is, okay, we got to develop friendship. There's no such thing as networking without friendship. Right. I mean, we're in business and everything. We need friendship, but but yes, what you said is absolutely valuable. I don't want to start, running off. One thing I'm noticing, Zeph, Elena's picture, like sometimes the picture freezes.
Yeah.
So Kalena is like this for my screen. Kalena, how are you?
She's moving. I see her move.
Right, Kalena is very sweet person that I actually met through a networking event that somebody else threw, and she took my headshot, she took my pictures, and this is the type of thing where after networking you need to sit down. So we definitely sat down, together, had a good hour-and-a-half conversation. I mean, I'm happy to have you here, and so your turn. I want to hear from you in terms of networking. At your stage in business, what's important for you?
Yeah, I mean, I go to a bunch of different networking things, and I'm starting to get burnt out.
See, I told you she wasn't moving.
She's moving.
Can you hear me?
I see you moving. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Clear.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I go to a lot of different networking events. I'm getting a little bit burnt out, but
Maybe the microphone?
Starting to be a little bit more strategic in how I choose where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm a member of a couple.
I told you that she was not moving. See, my intuition.
No. Andy, I think it's your end. We hear her fine, right, everyone?
Good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we hear her fine.
Totally apologize. Okay, so go ahead. And somebody will have to translate.
All right.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
I'm a member of a few different chambers, and then I'm a member of a trade association for my industry. So I go there to meet like other industry professionals and other people that are related to the industry that could become clients. And then I'm not currently a member yet, but I'm sponsoring events with Meeting Professionals International, which is a very strategic move in terms of like going to meet a room full of prospective clients. And I can't read what Handy's thing says because it's so grainy. It's so grainy. But anyway, so that's another way I'm networking is by sponsoring, by doing photos at the event instead of like as a trade, because for me, I have to be strategic in how I'm using my resources, because at my level I don't have a lot of resources to pay. But I understand what you were saying before about like paying for quality, and it makes a lot of sense. Like I'm starting to see like, because I used to go to a lot of free meetings from Meetup, and it was a lot of like people that, I don't know, it wasn't what I wanted, and I wasn't really getting
exhausted, right?
Right. And I stopped going to them.
Yeah.
And now I'm a member of a few chambers, and so I go to chamber events, and it's slightly better, but it's not 100% better. And so I'm trying to find that group of people that's really like wants to support me, and that I can also support them. And it's like groups through that I would love to join certain groups like Marie Forleo's B School, or like Ramit Sethi's Brain Trust. I was actually a part of, but I stopped because I couldn't really afford to pay $50 a month for it.
Right.
But and then like other ones like School of Greatness with Lewis Howes has a mastermind. All these different mastermind groups. I'd love to like find one and pick one and join it, but it's a matter of like affordability. I mean, obviously, everyone has a different system of value and whatever, but like I'm sure it's worth it. But you can't argue the bank account. Right. You can't argue. So anyway, I'm trying to be more like strategic in what organizations I go to, if it's going to be a room full of clients, or if I'm going for a more educational reason, or if I'm going for a mindset reason, or even for accountability. So I want to find. I don't think there's one group that can solve all those problems. I mean, I think you have to be a member of different groups for different reasons. But I think I like the idea of a quarterly meeting because it works in terms of like being able to commit and knowing well enough in advance to be able to commit and not commit to something else at the same time. If you know far enough in advance, then you have no excuse, basically. As far as I've tried to host events myself and haven't really gotten anyone to show up, so I don't know.
Hey, Elena, can I give you some tips?
Yeah.
So here's something that you can think about, right? In your profession, in your industry, what I've I found work very well is because you're that one person per industry kind of industry, all right, profession. Maybe if you are not ready to invest in a networking group that is a paid networking group because probably it's a higher quality group, you get more high quality people. Here's the thought process. You find a few of the people that probably you work well with, that you network well with, who probably have the same mindset, just like how me and the ladies in the team with Deborah in the mastermind group, we just got together and do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Maybe we do an event where you can raise enough money to pay for the membership group. Does that make sense? Because I'm always about teaching people how to fish, right? Because you want to survive not only for one day, you want to survive forever. So maybe in order for you to get that money to pay to a membership group that is pretty of a good quality, so create an event. So maybe you have one makeup person, I don't know, there's a lot of network marketing groups where ladies or men get together and create events, and then you can be the person who probably is the organizer or the host. Create that money generation event where you can take that money and invest in a networking group. Does that give you an idea of how you can get that money? Because if you're not thinking it that way, you will always be stuck in saying, I don't have the investment yet to belong to a group that probably has one per industry. Because I would like to, get you into a group that has one per industry, then you're going to be the special person for photography, and people will refer you. So that's how you keep on going. And I think that would be a good start off for you if you're thinking of, how am I going to network and get money? Get a few of your friends who are in business and say, would you like to do a, event where we a couple of us from different industries host this event. It could be a vendor type event. You can host it, you organize it. Maybe everybody's in the group are co-organizers. Raise the money and then find the networking group that you really think you want to belong to and invest in, because it usually pays off from my personal experience.
Just to say something on what you're saying, Zeph, I think where you want to end up is you want to end up in a group that you can't afford not to be paying to be in, because you're getting so much out of it.
Yes.
So I think to a certain degree, creating your own group could be the most powerful thing. Because not only are you a leader, but you can control, what happens. But until then, I think the most important thing is, it's not necessarily selling to the people in the group, but finding a group that has lots of good connectors.
Yep.
The connectors are, they're basically your sales force, essentially, that can go out and recommend you all over the place. And sometimes, it's doing some jobs at the beginning to just kind of generate goodwill. But I've been in the same boat myself.
For that, you get claps. And you go. There you go.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm discovering that I'm playing with this phone. I noticed my picture is there twice too, so I felt happy.
Double the fun.
I'm way better looking than the other guy right there. No, but it's cool. I'm doing it on my phone, and I learned how to scroll right and left so I can see everybody, because before I can only see 4 people in my frame.
Right.
All right, so that's just me, a child in a little pond, right? So I'm learning. Okay, so I like the fact that everybody has contributed a little bit to the conversation. Now, if anybody had other ideas, anything from what was discussed that they would want to add on, now is the time. We've had such good insight. Unfortunately, I was not able to listen to what Kalena said, so if somebody can just send it to me so I can actually add that to the things that were discussed.
You can watch it later on the video. Yep.
Slap on the wrist. Do you have something to slap in the face?
That's why we record it, so we can always have a playback button, right?
Right. And that's we have so much to learn. Basically, there's so much to learn right now. We want to learn about each other. So, Zeph, one of the things that I wanted to do today is, again, I'm happy to have you on the call. You're hosting this call. We'd be glad to have another one. We don't know if we can get you again, but One of the things I wanted you to say is two things that I want to do for sure. Is I want you to talk about, the upcoming events that you have, coming up. Is there any events or announcements that you have coming up? That's number one.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing I want to share is this. So every Wednesday, right? I actually have a web show called Creative Chat Cafe, the business talk show hangout. It's aired every Wednesday, but the first Wednesday of the month are usually our live broadcast, which is like this, right? So people can engage with us and have a conversation. So this Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time to 1:30, we have two people from the art world who's also going to teach us how art and entrepreneurial world kind of will marry together and help other people build their business. So we have Dr. Ivan Tirado and also Eleanor Somba from New Haven, who is a nonprofit organization. So, if you can watch it, watch it. If you cannot watch it live, you can always replay, click that button. And another more exciting thing is watch out for my three city tour event in the fall, because we're going to have a workshop and collaborating with my girlfriend, who's an inspirational expert. So we're doing a 3-city tour in the state of Connecticut, where we're having classes and workshops teaching people how to use Google Hangout, and she's also going to teach people how to do Instagram. So it's a conference seminar kind of day. So stay tuned, and I'll pass that information for you to pass on to your group, Andy.
Okay, excellent. And feel free also go right through the meetup. You can post something on the meetup. I'll just approve it for everybody to get the email.
Okay, sounds great.
So, money? I gotta
money. Got a keen ear, don't you?
I heard it. This is good. So thank you for the announcements. Now, does anybody have anything else to add in terms of what we discussed? Because we discussed, at least 20 different points in terms of having a good networking group, your experience here with Google Hangout. We want to create something that's informative for other entrepreneurs to actually see that, we're discussing this, we're hashing it out for the entrepreneurial community. So does anybody else have something to add in terms of that discussion, about networking groups, what works, what doesn't work, what they don't want to see? Now's the time.
I just had to add that on. Can I just quickly, I have an idea, because when you mentioned earlier, and Steve mentioned about the agenda stuff, the piece of agenda, right. I myself am working on something that is kind of similar on a mastermind hangout kind of thing, networking. So I really don't mind sharing my idea. One of the things, Andy, that you could probably do is probably create some sort of a structure or format. So in relation to what Steve mentioned earlier about having an agenda, it'll be great if you can do an agenda every week. That's fine, but I think over time it will take some toll on you, because you have to kind of prepare every week. But if you had some sort of a set agenda, like first 5 minutes, this is what we do. Then second, set of 5 minutes, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So my personal experience with one of the local groups here in New Haven, so I'm going to do a shout out for them, which is the Better Business Networking Quinnipiac chapter. So I've networked with them a lot, and I really love the way they kind of have their meetings or manage their meetings. They do have a structure. So everybody in the group, I think it is one per industry. So everybody in the group has some sort of a small role. So one example is one person during that, quarter leadership or whatever, one person will take care of motivational quotes. So every time in the agenda, when it comes to, say, 9:30 a.m., this person will prepare a motivational quote for the day. So they'll have a discussion over it, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll have a speaker who presents a tip, not a salesy pitch, but a tip in, that has to be relevant to what they do as a business owner. So if you're a chiropractor, you probably can, give a tip, and your presentation could include something like, hey, don't put your hands on the computer like this, right? On the table like this with the computer. Don't slouch, but sit straight. I don't care what it is, but if you give that kind of a structure and format to your team members and they have an expectation to that, I think you'll have better results in people attending it, because it's all give and take, give and take, give and take. And to what Whitney said earlier, there should be value, because 1 hour could either be too boring or not enough. So that's what I wanted to have. Some sort of a structure. Go ahead, Deb.
At the end of the meeting, I think it's important to, I know what we've done in our mastermind is to sort of throw out some ideas. Okay, so next week maybe what we're going to do is there anything in particular that someone would like to make covered? Because that way, people who feel like that they didn't get anything out of that meeting, and don't want that to people to just drop away. But then that would give them an opportunity to say, I'd really like to see a little bit more focus on this thing.
Right.
So that it gives, and then people will chime in, and you'll get your common outcome for the next week. And then it gives people time to think about it. Okay, great. Well, it really sounds like what we're hearing here is people really wanting to, find out more about how to, digitally advertise or whatever it is, so that so there can be more, everyone will be able to get a little bit more out of it. And it's going to be important for the facilitator of that group to make sure that it happens, and to be able to hear what everyone says in terms of input, and to draw that common thread, so that and to say, okay, and to sort of summarize for people for what they're saying, and so how do we feel about focusing a little bit more on this next week? Yeah.
Absolutely, getting input. I see a lot of people nodding your heads. Now I can see everybody nodding their heads.
And another thing, you can ask people, you write about, what they need. You can ask that. And also you can have like a quick 5 minutes to do, hey, we're doing testimonials today. I referred Deb to somebody, they closed the sale, and thank you, Deb. Oh, yay, and all that stuff, because we want to make sure that we pass on the credit to people who have done the work, who are active in the group. So you can always include that in the structure and format of the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would love to hear inspirational stories from other entrepreneurs about successes that they've had. If they overcame a problem in their business, they reached a milestone, whatever it might be, they solved a huge problem. I think those are always valuable, and sometimes when it's a completely different industry, you can even learn more, because it makes you think outside the box.
And that's a great topic, and that's a great topic for a session.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make a comment too, Kaylina.
Yeah, I'm listening.
When you had said about the networking groups, I had at one point started to visit many networking groups in the area, and I really found the same thing in terms of I'm disappointed, really, sort of disappointed in terms of what I got out of it. I don't know. It seemed like they were free.
Yeah.
And people that went, some of them were chamber, meetings, and it really did seem like they were like
clicky.
Well, they were definitely clicky, but also it was like it was almost like they were like a politician goes out and is like canvassing, or just
Right.
hey, how you doing? It was just like all really superficial, and I felt it was really a waste of time. But every once in a while, you hit someone that might. I think too. I think also in those groups, you really do need to go with a different mindset. I found, at least for me, really have to get into a mindset of okay, I'm gonna dig, because you meet people, and it's, even though they're a network, it's difficult to get through some of their own inhibitions to really get to what they actually know and experiences they had that can actually benefit you. So you really have to be the aggressor and the facilitator for that other person, in order to get what you want. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's,
That does.
yeah,
That does.
It goes to what Zeph was saying about getting a higher caliber of person too, because when you get, not personally, but I mean when you get people who are more professional at networking, what you tend to get is people who are really good listeners because they're good at sales, and they're also good at pitching what they want. So you get a better exchange. It's, here's what I need from the people I meet in the group, and I also want to really listen to what you need so we can really actually help each other.
Right.
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 And I think if you meet someone who never asks you a question, move on. Because they're
Yeah.
self-talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've met a lot of people at
Here's here's one thing that I learned. I learned it the hard way because it's a mistake that I've done before. Whenever you're doing any type of event or a public speech, there are some people that are always going to cheer you on with everything that you're doing, and you don't have no problem with them. They're always happy with everything that's going on. And there's also, people in the group that are burning inside and don't necessarily let you know. So that's the reason why, if we set an agenda for an hour, once the hour comes in, we have to intervene. So that's what I'm doing right now, because I don't know where everybody is at in their day. I don't know. Well, I respect everybody's time, and some people probably do have to go. So there's no right or wrong way to say it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But if anybody does have to go, or if everybody agrees that we can keep on going, that's fine. But if anybody does have to go, and I absolutely respect your time for you to say, you know what, I had scheduled an hour for this meeting. We've gone a little bit over. I have to click off, and nobody's taking it personally. I want to take this moment at this particular time to do it, just to give you the opportunity to do that without feeling, any type of negative, or without feeling, disrespectful, or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't like to cut through people's conversations. I want us to get the value out of what we're doing, because we're really friends. If we were sitting down as a group of friends, we would.
Andy?
We just lost you.
He just froze.
Going until
And on
You
that,
froze. You froze.
unless you guys tell me everything is fine. Everybody gives me the green light.
Hey, Andy, can I make a suggestion? Maybe, I don't know what your plans are moving forward with using Google Hangouts. Maybe you can kind of give us maybe in under 1 minute an idea of what, because I took it out be long. I don't mind staying another 5 minutes or so, but I just want to see where you want to move forward with, just getting together online or using your Uber conference. I just want to get a feel of how everybody's enjoying this Google Hangouts on Air event, because I feel that it's important to get a little bit of feedback.
Absolutely.
Quite fun, actually.
Yeah,
It's enjoyable.
that's good. What about you, Kalina?
Yeah, no, I like the format. It's good. I can log on from anywhere there's internet, although I guess I had some internet trouble before. But
David, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think I totally agree that having a format for the show would help, because then we really kind of have, it doesn't have to be a preset agenda that you have to manufacture every week.
Yeah.
It could be, it could be that most of it is preset, that we know we're going to talk about A, B, C, and then maybe, D is something new every week or something like that. But
Yeah.
that way we wouldn't be wondering, well, are we going to go for 15 more minutes or 5 more minutes? We'd be on schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Right.
yeah, I'd like that too, because then we could think in advance about what we want to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, more participation, maybe
Yeah.
Even if it only takes, I'm a big fan of the, what you might see online, which is TLDR, the too long didn't read,
Right.
Yeah, usually written like this.
I love that.
It's like, and this comes back to where we started. We started talking about time management, and we're all basically beset with so many distractions and things we have to deal with during the day. We don't need our networking group, which is supposed to be, just all benefit, to be something that drags on and on. So we contain it in like nice 5-10 minute blocks or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
I think an hour is a good amount of time. I think that beyond
especially
an hour, it's like every 15 minutes. If there's no physiology backing the group, and
on a hangout,
really
60 minutes is good.
Drift off, people really do drift off. An hour is plenty, and I think that having that expectation will, with on-task facilitator, will make people stay more on task.
Right.
Especially things that it's not going to drag on. I mean, if
Andy, Andy, can we discuss business taxation next week?
Business taxation. Could you be more specific? Because absolutely we can discuss it. So be more specific to me.
Well, just in terms of all of the different types of taxes that are involved just in doing the business, just in setting up business, in employment tax and all of the different types of taxes, business entity taxes and.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing stops us from doing that because it's very important.
Okay.
And so I'm going to wrap up the call.
Okay.
I first say, thank you everybody for coming on. I definitely and absolutely 100% value everybody. David, I appreciate you. We just met. I think we can do great things. Deborah, I think Deborah left. I haven't met her yet. I wish I would meet you one-on-one very soon. Stephen also, I think, left. Whitney, I already know how I feel about you. And especially Zeph, I thank you very much because Zeph really took on the reins, and she actually put in an extra 30 minutes on top of everything to actually set everything up and do the email. So I need a clap for Zeph.
So I'm gonna put myself a clap here.
So we're going to wrap it up here, and I think what I've been in the habit of doing is, okay, we have to cut it short, we have to cut it wherever it is, and I communicate follow-up through email. There's numerous ways for us to communicate. There's no perfect way to end it. We are not perfect. I very much appreciate everybody that came on the call today. Let's stay in touch, and keep on solving those problems. Keep on pushing your business.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Nice to meet you, David.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. Take care, guys.